Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is 2nd Lieutenant Anakin, assigned to Ready First Combat Team, 237 Armored Battalion, Fort Bliss, Texas. I will be giving you an LPD on how we fight with the focus on the attack. Prior to starting, the mission statement of the armor community is to close with and destroy enemy force using fire, maneuver, and shock effect, or to repel his assault by fire and counterattack. The agenda for this LPD is as follows: 4 types of offensive operations, characteristics of the offense, forms of maneuver, task organization, attack concept sketch, conclusion. References are as follows: Offense and Defense, FM 3-90-1, Volume 1, FM 3-96, Brigade Combat Team, Fundamental of Breaching, FM 3-21.10. We will now go over the 4 types of offensive operations. Movement to contact. A movement to contact is a type of offensive operation designed to develop the situation and establish or regain contact. A company may conduct a movement to contact on its own or as part of a larger unit's operation when the enemy situation is vague or not specific enough to conduct an attack. Exploitation. Exploitations are conducted at the battalion level or higher. The objective of exploitation is to disorganize the enemy in depth. Exploitations seek to disintegrate enemy forces to where they have no alternative but surrender or flight. Companies and platoons may conduct movements to contact or attack as part of a higher unit's exploitation. Pursuit. Pursuits are normally conducted at the brigade or higher level. A pursuit typically follows a successful exploitation. Ideally, it prevents a fleeing enemy from escaping and then destroys him. Companies and platoons will participate in a larger unit's exploitation and may conduct attacks as part of a higher unit's operation. Our main focus for this LPD is the attack. An attack is an offensive operation that destroys enemy forces, seizes or secures terrain, or both. Movement, supported by fires, characterizes the conduct of an attack. The company will likely participate in a synchronized attack. However, a company may conduct a special purpose attack as part of or separate from an offensive and defense operation. Special purpose attacks consist of ambush, spoiling attack, counterattack, raid, feint, and demonstration. Characteristics of the offense. An easy way to remember the characteristics of the offense is an acronym that we use called SCAT. Surprise. Units achieve surprise by striking the enemy at a time, place, or manner in which he is unprepared. Total surprise is rarely essential or attainable. Simply delaying or disrupting the enemy's reaction by attacking where he least expects is usually effective. Concentration. The attacker masses the effects of combat power at the decisive point to achieve the unit's purpose. Leaders concentrate the effects of their combat power while trying not to concentrate forces. Because the attacker often moves across terrain the enemy has prepared, he might expose himself to enemy fires. By concentrating overwhelming combat power at a weak area or system, the attacker may reduce the effectiveness of the enemy fires and the amount of time he, the attacker, is exposed to enemy fires. Audacity. A simple plan of action, boldly executed. The audacious commander develops confidence by conducting a thorough estimate. His actions, although quick and decisive, are based on a reasoned approach to the tactical situation and on his knowledge of his soldiers, the enemy, and the terrain. He is daring and original, but he is not rash. Tempo. Tempo is the rate of military action relative to the enemy. Tempo is not the same as speed. Controlling or alternating tempo is essential for maintaining the initiative. Tempo promotes surprise, keeps the enemy off balance, contributes to the security of the attacking force, and prevents the defender from taking effective countermeasures. By increasing tempo, commanders maintain momentum. Flexibility. Flexibility is not a characteristic, but it does bear discussion. At some point in most attacks, the original plan must be adjusted to meet the changes in the situation. The commander maintains flexibility at all times so he can attack identified enemy weaknesses where they are presented. Forms of maneuver. Envelopment. Envelopment is a form of maneuver in which an attacking force seeks to avoid the principal enemy's defenses by seizing objectives to the enemy's rear or flank in order to destroy him in his current positions. A successful envelopment requires discovery or creation of an assailable flank. The envelopment is a preferred form of maneuver because the enemy must fight in at least two directions, and the attacking force tends to suffer fewer casualties while having the most opportunities to destroy the enemy. Turning movement. Turning movement is a form of maneuver in which the attacking force avoids the enemy's principal defensive positions by seizing objectives to the enemy's rear and causing the enemy to move out of his current position, or to divert major forces to meet the threat. For a successful turning movement, the unit trying to turn the enemy must attack something that the enemy will fight to save. Infiltration. Infiltration is a form of maneuver. In an infiltration, an attacking force moves undetected into or through the enemy's main defenses, that is, an area occupied by an enemy force. The purpose of an infiltration is to occupy a position of advantage in the enemy's rear area to concentrate combat power against enemy weak points. Ideally, an infiltration exposes a small element to an enemy defensive fires. Penetration. Penetration is a form of maneuver in which an attacking force seeks to rupture enemy defenses on a narrow front to create both assailable flanks and access to the enemy's rear. Penetration is used when enemy flanks are not assailable, when enemy defenses are overextended, when weak spots in the enemy defenses are identified, and when time does not permit some other form of maneuver. A penetration normally consists of 3 steps. 1. Breach the enemy's main defensive positions. 2. Widen the gap created to secure flanks by enveloping one or both of the newly exposed flanks. And 3. Seize the objective. Flank attack. Flank attack is a form of maneuver in which an attacking force directs its attack at the flank of the enemy. This attack is normally conducted with a support by fire position to support the maneuver of the flanking force. Frontal attack. Frontal attack is a form of maneuver in which an attacking force seeks to destroy a weaker enemy force or fix a larger enemy force along a broad front. It is least desirable form of maneuver because it exposes the attacker to the concentrated fire of the defender and limits the effectiveness of the attacker's own fires. However, the frontal attack is often the best form of maneuver for an attack in which speed and simplicity are key. It helps overwhelm weak defenses, security outposts, or disorganized enemy forces. Prior to moving to the concept sketch, we will go over the task organization. In 237 Armor Battalion, we have the HHC Company, the Headquarters Company, 2 tank companies, Alpha Company and Bravo Company, a Mechanized Infantry Company, Charlie Company, and the FSC Company. Within HHC, we've got the Scout Platoon, Mortar Platoon, Medic Platoon, Retrans Team, Decon Team, and Construction Squad. Within Alpha Company, we have 2 tank platoons, 2nd and 3rd Platoon. The enablers attached to Alpha Company is 1 engineer platoon, 2 assault breach vehicles, and 1 joint assault bridge. For Bravo Company, we have 2 tank platoons with an additional Bradley platoon attached from Charlie Company. In Charlie Company, we've got 2 mechanized infantry platoons, 2nd and 3rd Platoon, 2 tank platoons, 1 from Alpha Company, 1 from Bravo Company. Additionally, the enablers for Charlie Company is the 1 engineer platoon and 1 assault breach vehicle. For the FSC Company, we have the distribution platoon and maintenance platoon. We will now go over the concept sketch. Phase 1, preparation. This phase begins with the receipt of the order. This phase ends with the main body SB from TAA Duke. Critical events during this phase are area reconnaissance and main body preparation. Phase 2, movement. This begins with the main body SP from TAA Duke. This phase ends when companies have occupied their company assault positions. Critical events during this phase are identification and destruction of enemy AT and OPs in the disruption zone and occupation of company assault positions. Phase 3, support and breach. This phase begins when the companies have occupied their assault positions. This phase ends when the breach lane is established. Critical events during this phase are established support by fire 1 and 2, smoke targets fired, deception operations, and breach. Phase 4, assault. This phase begins when the breach lane is established. This phase ends when BCO and CCO is established in a hasty defense on the LOA. Critical events during this phase are destruction of one enemy platoon, ABF1, and establish a hasty defense on the LOA. Phase 5, consolidation and reorganization. This phase begins when BCO and CCO are established in a hasty defense on the LOA. This phase ends on order. Critical events during this phase are engagement area development, resupply, and improving the breach lane. Schema maneuver. Phase 1, planning. 237 Armor begins posture in TAA Duke. At H hour, the scout platoon deploys along Axis Amarillo, conducting an area reconnaissance to phase line Alaska. The reconnaissance objective is to confirm that the templated attack position El Paso will be suitable for the battalion. The focus is terrain, and the tempo is rapid and forceful. Weapon control status is tight. Disengagement criteria is 2 AT systems. Bypass criteria is tanks and obstacles. The battalion mortars will attach to task force scouts in support of reconnaissance efforts and allow for discrete engagement with responsive indirect fires. The rest of the battalion remains in TAA Duke conducting preparation. CCO will attach 1 infantry squad to provide security for retrans and 2 infantry squads for decon. Phase 2, movement. When the scout platoon crosses phase line Alaska, this triggers the main body to deploy from TAA Duke towards attack position El Paso. Formation is column, order movement is Charlie Company, TAC, Alpha Company, Bravo Company, and finally HHC. Upon arrival at attack position El Paso, the main body conducts a ROM. Once complete, the main body splits along their respective axis. CCO and the TAC travel along axis Dallas. ACO travels along axis Arlington with an engineer section. BCO travels along axis Austin with the CTCP. Meanwhile, the scouts continue their area reconnaissance. Upon reaching phase line Arkansas, the scout platoon changes tempo to stealthy and deliberate. They will continue this tempo into phase line Connecticut, then establish OPs to observe the enemy obstacle belt, identify the point of penetration, and protect the main body from direct fire contact, interdicting the enemy with indirect fires. Upon reaching phase line Arizona, CCO and ACO will ensure departure across phase line Arizona is synchronized. Additionally, at phase line Arizona, CCO will deploy the FOC, Feint Operations Center, as part of the deception operation, and HHC will establish CTCP in Role 1. After CTCP and Role 1 are established, decon squads will begin reconnoitering suitable decon sites in vicinity of phase line Arizona. The companies will occupy their respective assault positions, Assault Position Aggressor, Battle, and Crusader. When Alpha Company and Charlie Company reach their assault positions, a scout platoon begins their FPUL via FM and JCR through Axis Houston and Axis Galveston. The mortar platoon will establish split section mortar firing points in vicinity of mortar firing point 1 and mortar firing point 2. Conditions to be set prior to the beginning of Phase 3 will be all companies set in assault position, Role 1 and CTCP established in vicinity of phase line Arizona and Axis Austin, retrans established in vicinity phase line Alaska and Axis Dallas. After completion of the FPUL, scouts will reposition to screen ACO's flank. Once the scouts have repositioned, this ends Phase 2 of the operation and initiates Phase 3. Phase 3, support and breach. When conditions have been set, mortars will engage targets Alpha Kilo 4025 and Alpha Kilo 4010 obscuration fires, and FA will shoot group target Alpha 1 Alpha suppression. Initiation of fires will trigger CCO to advance along Axis Galveston towards support by fire 1 and orient direct fires between TRPs 1 and 3. BCO Task organized with 1AB fee is tasked with deception to deceive the enemy that SECO is the breach force. When support by Fire 1 is established, this is the trigger for Alpha Company to advance along Axis Houston and establish support by Fire 2 with fires oriented between TRPs 1 and 2. Establishment of support by Fire 1 and support by Fire 2 will trigger the cease of suppression and obscuration fires. After obscuration fires are complete, Mortar Platoon will conduct a survivability move. Once support by Fire 2 is set and engaging at TRPs 1 and 2, that is the trigger for support by Fire 1 to shift fire to TRP 3. Once support by Fire 1 is engaging TRP 3, support by Fire 2 will shift to TRP 1. That will trigger the engineers to breach and initiate SOSRA. SOSRA is the fundamentals of breaching. The SOSRA acronym is broken down into suppress, obscure, secure, reduce, and assault. Continuing on with Phase 3, Alpha Company will trigger Decision Point 1. Decision Point 1 is if Alpha Company loses their ABV assets prior to crossing Phase Line Colorado. If this happens, Charlie Company will become the breach force and Alpha Company becomes the support force. The engineers are responsible for reducing, proofing, and marking a one-vehicle lane through the complex obstacle. Engineers will report third down when the breach lane is open. Alpha Company acknowledges third down and aggressively bounds one platoon through the point of breach to establish far side security. The decisive point to this operation is when Alpha Company is 300 to 500 meters on the far side of the breach in a hasty defensive posture. Bravo Company passes Phase Line California and bounds towards the point of breach. When far side security is established, Alpha Company calls fourth down over the task force net. Phase 4, Assault. When Alpha Company establishes far side security, Bravo Company assaults through the breach lane to destroy the enemy at attack by Fire 1. Once across Phase Line Delaware, Bravo Company calls touchdown and maneuvers along the avenue of approach to attack by Fire 1. Once Bravo Company has established attack by Fire 1, they're going to break it down. This will trigger Charlie Company to break down support by Fire 1 and maneuver to the point of breach to resume movement along Axis Galveston. Mortars will bound forward to establish a hasty mortar firing point in vicinity Phase Line Colorado to support exploitation and pursuit with on-call fires. At Phase Line Florida, LOA, Charlie Company and Bravo Company will establish Battle Position Battlecat and Battle Position Crusader. Phase 5, Consolidation and Reorganization. Once established in hasty defensive postures, Charlie Company and Bravo Company will conduct engagement area development to prepare for an enemy counterattack. Charlie Company continues improving the breach lane. Gulf Company conducts tailgate resupply for all companies. This phase ends on order. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, this concludes the LPD on how we fight. As I stated before, if you are looking for more additional info, you can find them at the Offense and Defense FM 3-90-1, FM 3-96 Brigade Combat Team, and Fundamentals of Breaching FM 3-21.10. This is Second Lieutenant Anakin from 237 Armor. Have a good